The AdMech makes sure the Skitarii aren't meant for critical thinking. But Darktide confirms they built one that can. Welcome, Initiate. There is a new designation of operative that has been deployed by inquisitorial forces in the Atoma sector, the Skitarii Alpha Primus. This data comes from Darktide, a conflict located within Hive Tertium, and this is the first confirmed appearance of an Adeptus Mechanicus fighting class there, deployed after the discovery of an ancient Mechanicus facility in the Dead Side, a wasteland beyond the walls of Hive Tertium. The official justification is that these are veteran Skitarii upgraded to operate with more independence on specialized missions. They are loaded with terabytes of combat data and advanced tactics to function for extended periods without direct oversight from a tech priest master. But the Skitarii Alpha Primus is an anomaly, and it demands the question, what does the AdMech really do to a person to create a Skitarii?
The common assumption is that Skitarii are built from the dregs of imperial society, convicts, failed warriors, or mind-wiped menials. All of it is true, yes, but it's incomplete because the source material is far broader. Entire refugee populations are seen as little more than biological components waiting for a chassis. A significant number of candidates are sourced from eugenics programs that breed for aggression and strength, or are fanatics who willingly volunteer. And that is the fun part, because in the belly of this hungry machine, there are some Forge worlds with a yearly conscription where a percentage of all menial workforce families are ripped from their homes and sorted into cages. Those on the cusp of adulthood are tithed to the Astra Militarum, younger children are molded into fresh Skitarii, and the mutated, well, let's not talk about that. The AdMech doesn't wait for volunteers. It identifies raw material and begins the psychological conditioning designed to make the subject crave their own disassembly, to view the stripping of their identity as a sacred act. The battle for the subject's mind is fought and lost before the first incision is made. Everyone focuses on the augmented parts, the metal limbs, bionic eyes or lungs. That is the visible part. But the primary stage is a mental conditioning, not a physical one. The Corpus-Skitarii, the series of cybernetic augmentations used to transform a human into a Skitarii, doesn't erase the person. It creates partitions of himself, where psychosurgery removes individuality and installs doctrinal loyalty. Personal memories that conflict with service? Purged. Combat instincts and the capacity to learn? Kept, because without those instincts, they don't function as soldiers. The goal is to make a man think like a machine. Only after the mind is secured does the body follow. Limbs, eyes, lungs, digestive tracts, all components assessed for weakness and swapped out. There is a minimum, but no standardization across Forge worlds. Some Skitarii still look almost human, but there are others that are barely recognizable. The most augmented pass a threshold called the Crux Mechanicus, a point where the body is more machine than flesh, and every wound after that becomes an opportunity for more metal. The AdMech could replace a dead Skitarius faster than almost any other faction in the Imperium can replace a soldier. It reads as immortality, but they are just interchangeable. The Mechanicus doesn't mourn its fallen when they can simply requisition replacements. But there is something left behind. A system error. A recurring fault the AdMech can't fully patch. Many Skitarii experience dissociation from their own bodies, something like the phantom limb syndrome, not for metal parts lost, but for flesh they remember having.
There are cases where some hallucinate their augmetics as skin and muscle, seeing the body they used to own before the metal reasserts itself. Do you know what is the prescribed treatment? You guessed it. Praying. Conducting the daily canticles of defragmentation, what a mouthful, until the symptoms cease. The AdMech acknowledges the soul exists only as a bug to be managed with a ritual. Even their communication is also a control mechanism. You may have heard about the Binharak, but between the Skitarii, they use skit code, a dialect of rapid clicks and bursts of binary. It is specifically designed to express only tactical data and nothing more. Some concepts like hope, fear, longing, they are simply absent, so you can't think what you cannot say. Even with all of this, they are not servitors. A sliver of human creativity survives, because without it, they cannot function as soldiers. Their masters can override their will directly through neural links, but most of the time they don't need to. The conditioning is that complete. To a Skitarius, the will of the Magus is the will of the machine god. Questioning is simply unthinkable.
This is the balance the AdMech had. Build an army that cannot question, use it, replace the fallen, and repeat. And then came the Alpha Primus. No, not that Alpha Primus. I'm talking about the Alpha Primus Skitarius. The AdMech spent millennia engineering soldiers for whom questioning is literally impossible, a neurological fact confirmed in their own technical literature. And then they built a soldier whose entire value proposition is independent thought, force-loaded with tactical data and capable of operating without direct tech priest oversight for years, and, confirmed in fragmented field reports, capable of disobeying a direct order if their own logical assessment concludes it contradicts the Omnissiah's will. Here is what makes this darker than a simple upgrade. The Alpha Primus is a secret. High-ranking Astra Militarum commanders don't know they exist. The AdMech has created their most independent soldier, and then hidden them from everyone, including the people fighting alongside them. That is not the behavior of an organization confident in what it built. It is the behavior of an organization that isn't sure what it made, and doesn't want anyone asking questions while they figure it out. And right now, one is operating in Hive Tertium, embedded in an inquisitorial warband, serving the AdMech's interests and answering questions nobody thought to ask. The creation of a Skitarii is a precise, documented process. Memory replaced with data, grief replaced with ritual, free will replaced with loyalty so complete it functions as a cage. The AdMech didn't do this accidentally. They perfected it over 10,000 years. And then they built the Alpha Primus, a soldier defined by the exact quality they spent 10 millennia destroying: independent thought, the ability to disobey, hidden from their own allies, deployed into a war zone with no tech priest oversight. The official explanation is evolution, a smarter soldier for a more dangerous galaxy. The Illuminati Broadcast Network doesn't tell you what to think, but let me leave you with a thought. If the Alpha Primus can think independently, can disobey orders, and operates in secret, who is it actually loyal to? The Magos who built it? The Omnissiah, whose will it interprets for itself? Or something else entirely, something that survived the Corpus-Skitarii and has been waiting for the right chassis to finally ask, why? Leave your assessment below, dear initiate. The Atoma report is closed. But the network doesn't stop broadcasting. The next report is already waiting, dear initiate. and what it contains is something the Administratum has been trying to bury for 10,000 years. If you are not yet a registered initiate, the subscribe button is right there. The Council is watching who clicks it. Illuminati Broadcast Network, out.